Welcome back to Integration. On our Let's Talk About It segment today, we're talking about Somali women and what they did to survive when they arrived in Canada in the 1990s. There's a new study that's just been published on the economic empowerment of Somali women, written by Sophia Giso, a master's student at the University of Regina. And she joins us in studio to share with us her findings. Welcome, Sophia.
Thanks for having me.
So this is really interesting. You know, no one has really taken on the challenge to learn about the Somali Canadian experience and what women went through as refugees. Tell me about your study that you've done.
So my study is called African Canadian Analysis about analysis of social networks, exclusion, and the economic participation of Somali immigrant women in the GTA. So one of the main reasons why I decided to research the Somali immigrant women in Canada in Toronto is because I remember being an undergrad and I really wanted to, talk about the experiences of Somali women. And I searched online and I wasn't able to find anything that really spoke to the realities of what was really happening and the ways that they adjusted when they came to Canada. So I kind of decided I was going to do my own primary research analysis, and I was going to go out there and I was going to do interviews, I was going to do surveys just to kind of understand more their experiences, what they went through, and the ways that they were able to adapt and integrate into Canadian society.
Amazing. So what did you find out?
I found out that Somali women are very dependent on their social networks. Their social networks is a way for them to seek social support, economic participation, and for them to, just to kind of a way of adapting to life in Canada.
Wow. So when we say social networks, this is the other women they relied on.
Yes.
And how do they do that?
Their social networks are, their other Somali neighbors, the woman living down the streets, you know what I mean? Just like a group of women who are there for each other, who have similar experiences, who are also raising kids, some of them single mothers, some of them married, that comfort zone,
So there's this economic system that a lot of Somali women did when they arrived in Canada. Tell us about that. It's really powerful.
Yeah, so one of the things that I found out was that, social networks was really beneficial for three things. One is that it provided social support. The second was that it provided this concept of ethnic economies, ayuto or hagbats, it's called in the Somali language. And the third one is the concept of enterprising self. So the second concept, which was the one you spoke of, ethnic economies, is, this funding,
It's kind of where they pull money together.
Exactly.
Like, let's say your friend down the street needs a car, but she doesn't have the money right now.
Exactly.
So 10 women will go in together.
Exactly.
And raise $10,000, and each one of them will take that $10,000 each month.
Each month, yeah.
So that they can buy a car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a way of like money sharing in a way.
Yes.
You contribute $1,000 or whatever, that particular ethnic economy is going to contribute. So each month someone gets the 10,000, the next month someone else gets the 10,000.
What's really powerful about that is the trust that goes into that. So these relationships are really based on trust and and knowing the families or the person or having, it's just very, part of me wonders, like, would your generation continue that?
Personally, I don't know if
would you trust your friend with $10,000?
I just feel like for example, my mom's generation, like the way that ethnic economies work, it is based on trust. That's one of the things that I found out. It's based on, communal trust and you being able to, trust that that person is going to, at the end of the day, give you your money back,
Yes.
But I don't know if I would.
So you're born in Canada and you're probably about 24?
I'm 24, yeah.
So how many 24-year-olds would trust each other with money these days?
Not the way our parents do, believe it or not. Yeah, not the way our parents do.
Yeah, so we're almost like the social networks were a way of survival for them.
It is.
And as young Somalis, for you guys who are growing up in this part of the world now, what are we doing to survive, to become more economically stable? Is there will that continue, do you think, all these findings for the next generation?
I feel like this concept of, ethnic economies was meant for, refugees, which a lot of us were, and immigrants who arrived to this country who felt excluded from the mainstream economic, the labor market in Canada. And so that was a way for us to raise funds to start businesses. We have El Gapta, and a lot of the times, like, these women get these, are able to open up these stores with the funds that they, are able to,
yes,
So
it helps them start businesses.
Exactly, it helps them start businesses. But I feel like, the longer
and also
we're
avoid
here,
interest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No interest with ethnic economies now.
Yeah.
So I feel like the longer we're here, we have more educated individuals. A lot of us are going to school more. A lot of us are less dependent on those types of systems.
Yes.
So I do feel like it will phase out over time.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are you doing now? You're at the University of Regina doing your master's. What are you studying?
I'm studying public policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is your focus on your master's on?
I'm actually in the process of writing my thesis on the mental health of Somalis in Canada. So that's something I'm really, really interested in, because I feel like, the Canadian health system focuses on, the mental health of Canadians collectively. And I feel like immigrants are more prone to report, lived experience with mental health. And so I feel like it should be focused. We should have, separate analysis that focuses on the mental health of immigrants and, the way that they adjust, you know what I mean? And how
Where they adjust and how basically, because a lot of times people don't take into account that mental health is a big issue for the Somali community because of trauma from war.
Exactly.
And the things that people carry from generation, right? Of having to survive a civil war.
Exactly. And so I feel like, we have such a huge presence in Canada. And so there should be some sort of, established research that focuses on our mental health. And, the way that how, exclusion contributes to that.
Absolutely.
And how, just like that feeling of not belonging and not being able to seek help and not knowing where to go. And also, our culture tells us, if you're experiencing anything that is, somewhat related to mental illness, you're crazy, or you shouldn't speak of it, or, Quran Sad. And I just feel like that's such a huge, huge, huge issue in our community. And that's one of the things.
The shame, right?
The shame, yeah. I feel like, mental illness shouldn't be shamed. It's natural, it happens, it's huge in Canada. So that's one of the things I'm focusing on.
Well, good for
in
you.
my program,
We look forward to hearing back your findings, and thank you so much for studying the impact that Somali women have had on Canadian society, because it's so important, for you guys who are born here to understand the struggles that your parents went through, because I don't think many people know.
I don't think.
What did you learn in this study?
I learned that, research is really important. If we want to, have policies and programs that work, we need to have research to back that up. We need informed policy, and the only way to do that is to research different communities. So one of the things that I've found out is that if I see that there's a gap in knowledge, to kind of use my own, privilege in a way, because I am educated, I do go to school, to use that as a way to, inform people of what the realities are of different marginalized groups. I also found out that, I knew this before, but Somali women are very, 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 intelligent and very hardworking people. They were able to come to Canada, start a new life, not knowing the language, feeling very excluded, and, a lot of them are doing really well for themselves, and I feel like they should be applauded for that.
Awesome. Well, thanks. Kudos to you now.
Thank you.
Yes. This is Integration. We'll be back right after these messages. We've been speaking with Safia Jiso on her study on the economic empowerment of Somali women. We'll be back right after these messages.